Hello and welcome to another episode of Boardroom Beats. I'm your host, Himali Singh. Today, we have the pleasure of speaking with Mr. Vaibhav Patkar, VP and CISO at Orient Technologies. Mr. Vaibhav is a seasoned cybersecurity expert with a rich background in practically applying ISO 27001, HIPAA, and GDPR, and many more. His profound insights into risk management and cybersecurity education have positioned him as a leader in shaping secure, compliant IT environments across the industry. We welcome you to the show, Mr. Vaibhav. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Himali, for that introduction. I'm happy to be here.
Great, sir. So, Mr. Vaibhav, let's start at the foundation of any career, which is continuous learning. So, could you discuss the significance of this, and especially for cybersecurity professionals facing rapidly evolving threats?
Uh, as you know, technology is changing very rapidly. And when you have such a rapid change, the cyber criminal or the way the technology used for committing frauds or malware or malicious use is also increasing. So not necessarily the professional, whether it is in IT or security, they need to know about the change in technology, also how people are taking advantage of these technologies for some malicious gain, so that they can be very well prepared to understand and address the threats which are emanating or which are coming from those. So you must have seen the threats like phishing earlier, but now more or less we can get smishing or impersonation of your voice or deep fakes, which are becoming very common. So how do we really address these kind of challenges in our day-to-day life? Uh, the simple question is there to understand this technology, figure out a way to address this, and with some kind of a defensive mechanism, and keep on doing, because there is nothing called 100% security in the world. So you can always put some kind of a precautionary measures and try to develop new things, so that you can enforce some kind of a security posture in your environment to keep it secure.
Yeah. So, how are you coping up with the numerous certifications that you have achieved throughout your career, sir? Just wanted to know this very proactively because I've gone through your profile also, and I've seen that you have a very good lot of certifications in your career.
I usually call them alphabets, adding
Okay,
alphabets after the
okay,
just to be a little bit simpler. Well, there are. Let me try and explain a little differently. So,
great.
uh, there are certain alphabets are called certificates, and certain known as certification. Now, there is a basic difference between the two.
Okay.
A certificate is something which you get once you pass an exam.
Hmm.
So, for example, if you go for a Microsoft or a Google exam, you attempt the exam and you pass the exam, you get a certificate.
Hmm.
Certification is a little different.
Hmm.
So, certification is a two-step process. The first step is passing the exam, and the second step is proving to the certification body that you have the relevant experience in that particular arena,
Hmm.
and you have to actually give them some kind of a attestation note from your superior or your manager, attesting that yes, this person has gone through or he's working on this kind of area for some specific number of years, and that goes to the body, and the body reviews it. If they find it's adequate, then only you can get that certificate. So some of the examples of this certification known as CISA
Hmm.
or CISM from ISACA or CISSP from ISC Square. So they are very stringent and rigid in terms of their policies. They will not try to give any discount for not having enough experience and all. But of course, these the scores are valid for 5 years. So they give you option of acquiring the experience post passing the exam. So this is your certificate and certification difference. Now, there are certain more categories, I would say, you have in this certification. One is a product-based certification, and one is product agnostic certification. Now, what do you mean by that? So when you have, let's say, when you go for a Microsoft or a Google or a Cisco certification, they are product-based certification. So they last till the product is in use. Once the product is gone out of use or end of service, then it will be replaced with a new product. So you need to go for a new certification for that. Whereas a product agnostic does not depend on specific product. It typically depends on the technology or a concept or a framework. Now, usually the frameworks don't go off such, they don't go offline such often. So these certification bodies will come up with a new kind of changes in those exams or certificates. All you need to do is comply with the updated requirements, which is something can be done very easily, and then that gets continued in a different way. I can explain. uh, I just told you about the earlier one, the certification. So these certifications are usually valid for 3-year period. In the 3 years, you need to prove to them or submit your some work experience or some kind of an experience which shows that you are acquiring new knowledge. That would be by attending a course or delivering a course, attending some seminars or workshops or something from any vendor or from any technology or cybersecurity arena. You can write a book, you can write an article, and you can get certain hours. That hours can be added up to certain number for a 3-year period. And let's say, for example, a CISA exam requires 120 hours to be completed in 3 years. So that will be valid. They will obviously, the ISACA, who's the organizing body, they will check and review. And once they have found, okay, then your certification gets validated for next 3 years, and the cycle continues. So some of my certifications I have done 20 years back, and I'm still maintaining those certificates because I'm able to give those contributing documentation for continuing my certification. So I don't have to give a new exam again and again. Unlike the product based, where if the product is gone end of life, I need to give a new certification. So that is how my journey started. Probably my journey started 30 years back in acquiring this alphabets. Initially, there were all product-based certifications, or product-based certificates. But after some point of time, you realize that you cannot be upgrading the certificates based on the new products coming. So I moved my track to certification, and I got, those are some of the certifications which you see, the alphabets you see, are in with me for more than 10-15 years, and I'm ensuring that to maintain for maybe next, I don't know how long, but I will still try and maintain.
Okay, great. So after listening to your this alphabets thing, it's really enlightening and an honor for me that I am having this. I've got this opportunity to take your interview in this boardroom beats segment of ours, sir. Thank you so much. So,
Thank you. But believe me, there are people who has got more alphabets than me. So I'm not the only one. There are people who have more, and they are actually earning for more also. So I'm not the only, I'm not the extraordinary person. There are more great guys whom I know in person. They also have more certification than me.
sure, sir. So now moving into now some more about certifications. How do they contribute to the growth of cybersecurity professionals? And could you mention a few that are particularly valuable today?
Yeah, see, cybersecurity certifications are a good point to achieve from your career point of view. And why, I'll tell you, because see, these certificates or certification, they are not typically a mugged up exercise. See, in school days, we are always told to remember everything, mug up everything, and it's like one of my very close friend says, commit to the memory and vomit to the paper. So you commit to memory, and then whatever you write, but then that knowledge is only for that instant or for that time. You don't take that knowledge with you later on. But when you in your professional life, you do a lot of activities, and that if there is a certification which can enforce that whatever you learned is right, wrong, something, I think you learn it better. So my point of view here is when you have an on-site or on the field experience, and then you go for this certification, it really helps you because the practicals you have already done. Now you only learn the theory part of it.
Theory
So
part.
that makes a hell of a difference. And I can tell you from my own example, because whenever I to do this certification business, but since I had a practical experience, it becomes easier for me. But not exact too easy, but yeah, at least the basic concept could to be
Hello.
understood much better way,
Okay.
right?
So definitely, the certifications hold a great value for anyone who is having it
Yeah.
in.
So I think just let me add here.
Yeah.
When a HR person who wants to hire someone,
Hmm.
he will prefer a guy who has certification or
Certification.
certificates rather
Correct.
than a person who has a similar experience but do not have certification,
Yes.
because there is a value in it.
Hmm.
So if you see the HR bots on the various job site, they will
Hmm.
always search for the people who has those alphabets behind them, so that they
Correct.
will get a better chance. So that's you can increase your market value. You can get very widely recognized that yeah, you have this, because uh, some of the certifications are having their value even after 30, 40, 50 years. Some of the certifications
Right.
which with the alphabets I'll be talking about, and I have those.
Hmm.
Those are in use for last more than 50 years. By I mean they started 50 years back and they're still around, and they have not lost their gold standard even after so many years, because there is a team of dedicated people who ensures to maintain those standards year on year. And I'm happy to be part of those some guys who are doing this kind of an activities. Okay. Yes.
So, with the constant emergence of new technologies coming up, how crucial is it for professionals to keep updated through the courses and certifications?
A good point. See, today we are talking about cloud or AI related artificial intelligence technologies.
Hmm.
Now, how do I prove to anyone either to hire me as a consultant or for an employee as whether I know this topic very well? One thing is the other side of the person, maybe the HR guy, the hiring manager. He may not also have the complete insight of the new technology, but he wants to have somebody. So, what is the mechanism? What is the distinction point between a person who has knowledge and who doesn't have? So this certification certainly play an important role in that case. So if I, let's say, go with an AI specific certificate, because
Hmm.
right now the certifications for AI is not there because it's still time to go, because it's kind of a new technology.
Yes.
But let's say for cloud they have some good certifications are already in place. So if I have those cloud certification, obviously I'll be given preference rather than somebody else. So yeah, so as and when the new technologies are developed, the certification bodies also will come with the relevant certificate to suit that requirement and suit the general public as well as the organization, so that they can be much better person to address any security threats. Right?
Okay. So, keeping updated yourself is the absolute key.
Absolutely. It's this is there is no easy way to address here. The way technology is changing, if you want to be in the race, you need to
Hmm.
upgrade yourself. As simple as that. Right?
Exactly. So, how do certifications prepare professionals to handle compliance with regulations like IT Act and international data protection guidelines?
Yeah. So the regulations and its interpretation, because see, regulation is always put in little complicated words,
Hmm.
right? Because they will have some lot of very high level words which are very difficult to interpret. But
Yes.
once somebody studies it and gets some certification based on it, at
Hmm.
least he has the basic understanding, and if he has an ability to explain them in a better simple manner to the audience, I think
Hmm.
that gets appreciated. Now if I can give one simple example
Hmm.
related to our IT Act.
Hmm.
Our IT Act says, the India IT Act says that you should have reasonable security measures.
Correct.
Now, how do you quantify what is reasonable?
Hmm.
Reasonable, let's say, if I only mention 2 points which are reasonable to me, may not be reasonable to you, because you may look for the additional 10 points. So the quantification of the reasonable is something little bit difficult. But if you have a person having some kind of a certification related to IT or related to those standards, they can probably look at your environment and suggest what are the reasonable. Because let's say you are a CA, and a CA may not require a elaborate security mechanism because his office is very maybe a two room 200 square feet or 500 square feet office where you don't require that kind of a security. But the same kind of security will not be will be not will not really work if you are a bank. So depending on reasonable security for a CA and reasonable security for a bank are completely different aspect. Now, only a certified person would able to understand the difference and what is apt for one, he could able to talk. So having the certified personnel on your role or as a consultant will really help you give the right advice from protecting your environment. Okay, let's move
Thank
ahead.
you. Thank you. So, any latest trends in the cybersecurity education that are essential for professionals today?
A little bit of a difficult question to answer because when we started our career, there was no such cybersecurity. Cybersecurity word did not exist.
Right.
So we only
Right.
know about technology, and whatever has been developed as a formal education, probably done in last 8 to 10 years.
Hmm.
But I'm happy that these guys are covering what we have learned the hard way.
Hmm.
So they have a systematic approach in terms of making people or making students aware of it. And
Hmm.
then there are lots and lots of institutes who are offering courses. Some of them are offering masters as well as PhD courses for people who want to really excel in information security or cybersecurity fields. And they are available in India and abroad, both places. So yeah, I see people are now taking cybersecurity as a career. In our days, there was no cybersecurity exist, so we just have technology. So we
Technology.
were following technology, and slowly we moved to cybersecurity because that was something which we found interesting and something fast expand.
Hmm.
But nowadays the situation is not as such. There are institutes which are offering great courses. I've seen some of the syllabuses and all. I find pretty interesting. And yeah, some places I do teach also, so it's a good thing
Okay.
to be part of those institutes to talk about cybersecurity to the aspiring folks.
Okay. So those trends certainly seems impactful, sir. So
Yes.
balancing work and learning is a challenge for many face. So what strategies could you recommend for managing both effectively?
I mean, I can relate that with my life itself.
Yes.
Because I had a tough job and I did this alphabets also. See, one thing you need to have is something like a passion. If you have, you should have
The
passion
most
for learning.
important thing.
Most important, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Is the most important aspect to do learn new things or do anything, anything, or because that will only help you excel and achieve your you also have your family responsibilities as well.
Correct.
And balancing the act is a little bit of a challenge or bigger challenge
Mm,
because you have to devote time to your family as well and as well as to your passion.
mm.
uh, I my I recollect my son used to always say that why daddy has to in his exams
Okay.
because he was always wondering when usually typical children, like when people grow up they don't want to study,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's the kind of a thought process they have. But he finds me studying and looking at writing something, making some notes, and I said he was always wondering why the hell I'm what makes me study all this while even after growth. So so that is how. But then, of course, if you have a passion, then obviously all these things can. And I was fortunate to have my family supported me in my decisions, so I think that was good from. So passion and support from your families are important for achieving your learning goals.
Correct.
Okay.
Yes. So that's a really excellent advice for all of us. And how do you view the role of academics institutions in shaping the cybersecurity capabilities of professionals? And any programs that are particularly standing out for it?
Yeah, as I told a little earlier, that today the academic industry is
mm,
understand cybersecurity is a requirement, and because the country needs lots of cybersecurity professionals.
mm,
So there are number of institutes which are coming up and dedicated for cybersecurity. I know some of the institutes which are actually started masters or MSc course in cybersecurity or artificial intelligence. There is
mm.
a university in Gujarat, Gandhinagar, who actually specializes on forensic science, which is a
Okay.
welcome change, because forensics is kind of a neglected activity all this while, because those guys are really required to look into the log files and identify this and that. So it's
Mm,
very nice to know that institute which is solely dedicated for forensic science has been started in Gandhinagar, and I think it has created a great name for itself in last few years. So
mm.
these are some welcome changes, I would say, from the academic point of view, because 10 years back they were not heard anything. But since it is required, I think that is how people are now trying to support that requirement. Okay.
So, any advice would you like to give to the young professionals who are just starting with their careers in cybersecurity, and especially regarding the certification part, sir?
Right. My first and foremost advice is to not to rush after certifications. Adding
Okay.
alphabets behind your name is always great, and that should be your aim. But
Mm,
unless and until you make your hands dirty on the field, you should not try for it, because again, I was talking about mugging up things. Now,
mm,
mugging up things in for these kind of certifications will not really help, because the questions are little tricky. Though
mm,
most of these exams are multiple choice questions, but out of four, you will find two questions can be eliminated, and from the remaining two, it's a very difficult choice to figure
mm,
it out. Maybe you can get lucky once to pass one exam by throwing a mental dice and selecting the answer, but that will not always work. So first 2 years or 2 or 3 years, they should always no work on the field, whether they are doing a technical stuff or even a GRC field, and then try to go for the certification which you desire.
mm,
You need to plan for it, look at the market trends, which certification makes sense, talk to your seniors, talk to some mentors,
mm,
and then once you select that, plan for it, study hard, and pass the exam. And
mm,
after passing the exam, party hard and
mm.
plan for the next one.
Next.
So that is how I would say you
Yeah.
should plan. Uh, you should go for knowledge and not necessarily the alphabets.
Right.
Alphabets can always happen, but
Yeah.
knowledge is something which you need to go at the ground level. That was
I should say
that
that's
was yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
yes. No, no, please continue, sir. I'm so sorry.
No, so that is the advice I would like to give it to anybody, because
Ah,
there are a lot to achieve and we still have time to go. So, and for young guys, they can do it. I know, but then they should not rush around. That's what I would say.
exactly. I was also trying to just say that it's a really invaluable advice for newcomers. Thank you for that. And lastly, looking ahead, what skills do you think will be crucial for cybersecurity professionals in next 5 years? And any certification or courses you would you like to recommend?
Uh, Cloud, artificial intelligence, and artificial intelligence security.
Mm,
These are something which I'm going to feel will be dominated in the next few years. Of course, cloud related, we have some certification like CCSPs and CCSKs. By the way, the cloud certification that which I talked about, CCSK, is now going for its next version. I hope that's going to be a great and good one,
mm,
because the older version was there for last 4 5 years. So I think it's time to change. So these are something which will continue for some time. AI still little bit of a virgin area, so there are not many certification for AI, but I'm sure next few years that will change and you will have some certification on AI based.
mm,
Also, the older certification which I told you, the gold standards will still be continued for some more time, because the bodies which are managing those are constantly evolving, changing the pattern, changing the way people are thinking. So
mm,
CISA, CISM, CISSPs, they will continue to dominate for next few years to come. So those any which are, as I said, they are well known across the industry, across the world. So I mean, if you are a CISA or a CISM or a CISSP, you go to any country in the world, they will recognize that you are a person which had some basic knowledge, and they will treat you with respect, because passing these exams is no cakewalk, and unless until you have the prowess, you will not able to pass. So people know their value and the importance. So these will still be this still continue to be valid and be good. And as I said, others, cloud and AI based will be dominating in the coming years.
Very good. So, Mr. Weber, thank you for sharing your extensive knowledge with us today. You very well quoted the certifications and certificates as alphabets here, and a very good quote shared by your friend also. Thank you.
Yeah.
So, your insights are invaluable for anyone looking to advance in cybersecurity field. So, to our viewers, thank you for tuning into the Boardroom Beats. We hope this discussion has given you a deeper understanding of the importance of continuous learning and certification in cybersecurity. So, stay tuned for more episodes where we explore the pulse of different industries with leading experts. This is Himali Vijayakar signing off.
Thank you.